Verses 1 to 2. We have here an account of the descent of the Holy Ghost upon the disciples of Christ. When, and where, this was done, which are particularly noted, for the greater certainty of the thing. It was when the day of Pentecost was fully come, in which there seems to be a reference to the manner of the expression in the institution of this feast, where it is said, Leviticus 23:15, You shall count unto you 7 Sabbaths complete, from the day of the offering of the first fruits, which was the next day but one after the Passover, the 16th day of the month Aviv, which was the day that Christ arose. This day was fully come, that is, the night preceding, with a part of the day, was fully past. The Holy Ghost came down at the time of a solemn feast, because there was then a great concourse of people to Jerusalem from all parts of the country, and the proselytes from other countries, which would make it the more public, and the fame of it to be spread the sooner and further, which would contribute much to the propagating of the gospel into all nations. Thus now, as before at the Passover, the Jewish feasts served to toll the bell for gospel services and entertainments. This feast of Pentecost was kept in remembrance of the giving of the law upon Mount Sinai, whence the incorporating of the Jewish church was to be dated, which Dr. Lightfoot reckons to be just 1,447 years before this. Fitly, therefore, is the Holy Ghost given at that feast, in fire and in tongues, for the promulgation of the evangelical law, not as that to one nation, but to every creature. This feast of Pentecost happened on the first day of the week, which was an additional honor put on that day, and a confirmation of it to be the Christian Sabbath, the day which the Lord hath made, to be a standing memorial in his church of those 2 great blessings, the resurrection of Christ, and the pouring out of the Spirit, both on that day of the week. This serves not only to justify us in observing that day under the style and title of the Lord's Day, but to direct us in the sanctifying of it to give God praise particularly for those 2 great blessings. Every Lord's Day in the year, I think, there should be a full and particular notice taken in our prayers and praises of these 2, as there is by some churches of the one once a year, upon Easter Day, and of the other once a year, upon Whit Sunday. Oh, that we may do it with suitable affections. It was when they were all with one accord in one place. What place it was we are not told particularly, whether in the temple, where they attended at public times, Lu 24:53, or whether in their own upper room, where they met at other times. But it was at Jerusalem, because this had been the place which God chose, to put his name there, and the prophecy was that thence the word of the Lord should go forth to all nations, Isa 2:3. It was now the place of the general rendezvous of all devout people. Here God had promised to meet them and bless them, here therefore he meets them with this blessing of blessings. Though Jerusalem had done the utmost dishonor imaginable to Christ, yet he did this honor to Jerusalem, to teach his remnant in all places. He had this in Jerusalem. Here the disciples were in one place, and they were not as yet so many, but that one place, and no large one, would hold them all. And here they were with one accord. We cannot forget how often, while their master was with them, there were strifes among them, who should be the greatest, but now all these strifes were at an end, we hear no more of them. What they had received already of the Holy Ghost, when Christ breathed on them, had in a good measure rectified the mistakes upon which those contests were grounded, and had disposed them to holy love. They had prayed more together of late than usual, ch 1:14, and this made them love one another better. By his grace he thus prepared them for the gift of the Holy Ghost, for that blessed dove comes not where there is noise and clamor, but moves upon the face of the still waters, not the rugged ones. Would we have the Spirit poured out upon us from on high? Let us be all of one accord, and, notwithstanding variety of sentiments and interests, as no doubt there was among those disciples, let us agree to love one another, for, where brethren dwell together in unity, there it is that the Lord commands his blessing. How, and in what manner, the Holy Ghost came upon them. We often read in the Old Testament of God's coming down in a cloud, as when he took possession first of the tabernacle, and afterwards of the temple, which intimates the darkness of that dispensation. And Christ went up to heaven in a cloud, to intimate how much we are kept in the dark concerning the upper world. But the Holy Ghost did not descend in a cloud, for he was to dispel and scatter the clouds that overspread men's minds, and to bring light into the world. Here is an audible summons given them to awaken their expectations of something great. v2. It is here said that it came suddenly, did not rise gradually, as common winds do, but was at the height immediately. It came sooner than they expected, and startled even those that were now together waiting, and probably employed in some religious exercises. It was a sound from heaven, like a thunderclap. Revelation 6:1. God is said to bring the wines out of his treasuries, PS 135:7, and to gather them in his hands, PROV 30:4. From him this sound came, like the voice of one crying, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord." It was the sound of a wind, for the way of the Spirit is like that of the wind, JN 3:3, thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it comes nor whither it goes. When the Spirit of life is to enter into the dry bones, the prophet is told to prophesy unto the wind, "Come from the four winds, O breath, ease." 37:9. And though it was not in the wind that the Lord came to Elijah, yet this prepared him to receive his discovery of himself in the still small voice, 1 Key 19:11-12. God's way is in the whirlwind and the storm, Nah 1:3, and out of the whirlwind he spoke to Job. It was a rushing mighty wind, it was strong and violent, and came not only with a great noise, but with great force, as if it would bear down all before it. This was to signify the powerful influences and operations of the Spirit of God upon the minds of men, and thereby upon the world, that they should be mighty through God, to the casting down of imaginations. It filled not only the room, but all the house where they were sitting. Probably it alarmed the whole city, but, to show that it was supernatural, presently fixed upon that particular house, as some think the wind that was sent to arrest Jonah affected only the ship that he was in, John 1:4, and as the wise men's star stood over the house where the child was. This would direct the people who observed it whither to go to inquire the meaning of it. This wind filling the house would strike an awe upon the disciples, and help to put them into a very serious, reverent, and composed frame, for the receiving of the Holy Ghost. Thus the convictions of the Spirit make way for his comforts, and the rough blasts of that blessed wind prepare the soul for its soft and gentle gales.